Good morning. I'm recording our Wellness Wednesday this morning. And first of all, I would like to thank Sharon Burke of Life Energy Foundation for being our sponsor for our Wellness Wednesday series. So thank you, Sharon. I'll ask you to say a few words after. And then I want to introduce Danielle Franklin. Danielle is the account manager at Adventist Healthcare LifeWork Strategies, and we're so happy that you're participating in our series. So she's going to talk off this brochure, and I'm going to share my screen so you can see it. So take it away, Danielle.
Well, thank you guys. Good morning. Happy Wellness Wednesday, like you guys put it. I love this theme. This is amazing. So just starting off, I know when it comes to health and wellness, a lot of times we set ourselves up with these long-term goals that I hate to say are more like New Year resolution goals, and they take forever for us to actually accomplish. So I wanted to kind of shift gears and really discuss ways that we can really not only use SMART goals for health and wellness, but any aspect in life. So I don't know about you, but I think many of us have probably heard or even used SMART goals at work, specifically with like maybe performance or even annual reviews. I know as much as we love to hate them, they do work. Unfortunately, I cannot find any research that debunks the methodology, nor can I really say that, there's nothing really wrong with them. So today, I think it's kind of really working with the acronym of SMART goals and really formulating our own. So before we get started, like Miraji just kind of mentioned, you guys can work off of this shared document on the screen, or if you want, you can pull out a piece of paper and a pen just so that you can participate with like the goal setting exercise that I kind of want to do today. I thought it would be fun for me to give you some context behind the SMART goal acronym so you can hear some examples, and then in the process you can create your own goals, and then as a group, hopefully towards the end of today's work discussion, we can kind of dive in and review them together. So who's ready to set some SMART goals? Awesome. Well, starting off, I know with the acronym, it says you have to be specific. I mean, that's not rocket science. Goals that aren't specific tend to be viewed as more long-term. A good example, for instance, would be like, I'm going to eat healthier. That sounds like a really great idea. But what does it really mean? I mean, if you're looking at that, it sounds like a really solid long-term goal. It's got spunk, it's got pizzazz. However, it really wouldn't get you anywhere because there's no starting point. So setting this example up for success would be more like, I'm going to start eating healthy by eliminating soda 3 days out of the entire week. Another example that's more life-oriented would be, I'm going to relax more. I mean, that sounds wonderful, especially in this particular climate. But truthfully, how are you going to relax more? What are you specifically going to do to relax more? This is setting your goal up for success. So the next word is measurable. You want to make sure that your goal can be measured or tracked. Walking 3 days a week is a goal that you can track. A goal of just walking more is not easily measured. In this kind of situation, there are research, medical journals that show people begin to improve their habits without really trying, simply by tracking their behavior. So I'll be honest, I don't like to write down bad habits, but when I write them down and see them, I want to improve them. It's really important in this instance to be honest with yourself and to keep yourself accountable, partly because you're really only robbing yourself of the opportunity of improvement if you're omitting information about the goals that you want to improve upon. When it comes to attainable, this is more of a rule of thumb. That's what I like to say, specifically when you're creating your SMART goals. You want to avoid aiming too high, and you also want to avoid aiming too low. I mean, you are the only one who knows what your potentials are and all of your capabilities. So when you're making SMART goals, they should be challenging, but not so challenging that they're unachievable. You don't want a goal to be too easy because that's defeating the purpose in this situation. And then you also don't want to make your goal too hard, because then that's going to deflate your own confidence in yourself. And it's also going to make you not believe that you can achieve it. So you want to have the mind frame of kind of like a Goldilocks situation with this. You want to find a goal that fits just right. When you hear the word relevant, this is also more of a rule of thumb, but this is also the situation where you want to ask the question, are you really going to do this? Seriously? Sometimes goals can get away from us, and we may be biting off more than what we can chew. So I think it's okay when you can take a step back and revisit, revise, and potentially reframe it. You can even give your goal a kiss here, aka you can keep it simple. A good example would be, say you're at home and you want to turn off all electronics for an entire weekend. That means no TV, no tablet, no computer, barely any phone, zip. This may sound very peaceful to some. It may potentially sound like an uprising if kids are involved. So you want to maybe choose realistic goals that you can meet so that it's more of a reinforcement on your efforts, and then also keep you moving forward. Instead of a whole weekend of no electronics, maybe you want to take a step back and start with 1 hour, 1 day a week to see how it goes, and then progress accordingly from there. Lastly, with the timely, this is choosing all of the things that we just talked about. Specific measurable goals means that you can track your progress over a period of time. When we don't put due dates to our goals, specifically like New Year's resolutions, there's no pressure in completing them. I like to say an example of this would be losing weight for the entire year. It's not specific enough, and you give yourself too long of a break to do it. So I like to put a little bit more of a pressure build up due date so that it drives us to complete them and it doesn't dwindle our motivation to do it. So now, after giving you guys some, I guess, examples of how you can really utilize the SMART goal acronym, I do want to provide you guys a little bit of time to create your own right now. And then also, with this particular group, how often do you typically meet on a regular basis? Just curiously.
Every Wednesday morning.
So you have a week between now and the next meeting, correct?
Yes.
So as you guys are writing your SMART goal, I'm going to help out with the timely aspect. Think about a goal that you can complete in 1 week. And then as a group, I would love to hear how these SMART goals sound. And then hopefully we can kind of dive in and see what the details look like so that you are more likely to be successful with this, and then meet again and discuss it next week. So I'll give you a couple minutes to make your own goals, and then we'll kind of review over them.
Danielle, do you want me to stop sharing my screen now so we can?
Yes, absolutely. You're more than welcome to take it down.
Okay.
I wish I had like the Jeopardy music for you guys right now, but I don't. You can sing it in your head. Just let me know when you guys are ready.
The only question I have is what happens when somebody sets a goal with a time and you don't achieve that goal? Doesn't
That's
it
a
put you
beautiful question.
in a tailspin of the negative?
It's more along the lines like, if you don't meet that goal, let's problem solve together. Let's see what got in your way as far as barriers, and then see what solutions you could come up with to work around those barriers so that if anything happens again, say the following week, you can kind of have those solutions ready, and then you don't have to worry about those barriers getting in your way again.
Okay, I'll fess up. With stress, I've been going to Chick-fil-A and getting a brownie.
Okay.
That doesn't fit in my long-term goal of being healthy and watching my weight and exercising. But I find myself, I do it, and I have to stop that. And then I go to stop it, and then I go and do it again. So it's like, what's up with that?
Okay. Would you like to volunteer and see how we can work together with that SMART goal of you not using Chick-fil-A as a coping mechanism?
Sure, you can use me as a guinea pig. Go ahead.
Awesome. So, being that you're trying to manage your stress, what other coping techniques do you think you can use instead of Chick-fil-A?
Well, I signed up for an online exercise class 3 days a week.
Wonderful. Have you done any of them, or is this something new?
No, it's 2 weeks in now. I do it 3 days a week.
Awesome.
But I still
So
do
it sounds like you're transitioning out of emotional eating, and then you're also utilizing physical activity to manage stress 3 days a week. I think that sounds like a really good SMART goal so far. When it comes to the class that you're taking, how long is it?
45 minutes.
So it's 45 minutes, 3 days a week. And is it aerobic? Is it something specific?
All
Both?
over.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
How challenging is it on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being extremely difficult?
I would say 6.
That's awesome. Okay. So what I just did with you guys literally was to see, one, how you can really transition out of not only not a bad habit, but more of a positive reinforcing habit when it comes to stress management with exercise. And then I also asked the level of challenge, pretty much in a scale. Instead of asking you how challenging is it, can you really do it? I wanted to know what number you were. Between a 1 and 10 scale, if you're right in the middle, that's a good goal to start with. If you're below a 5, it might be something that you want to reframe, revisit, partly because if you're not confident that you can do it, how do you know you're going to actually do it over a course of time? If your number is a little bit too high, it might be a little too easy for you. You got to make it a little bit more challenging. Does that make sense? All right. So I have another question for the group. Since we had a volunteer with our SMART goal, and we want to make sure you're continuing this goal, we got to keep you accountable. So for next week, I need a volunteer to ask Maraji how her exercise 3 days a week for 45 minutes is going, and if she went to Chick-fil-A by any chance.
I have a question.
Who can be her accountability buddy?
We can do that.
Awesome.
I have a question too. It's so is the brownie a reward for the exercise, Margie?
No, I'm actually going there to pick up my son a sandwich, and then
So you're there anyway.
So I say, well, just because I had to do the drive, well, I'm going to get a reward. But I also could get a kale salad and not a brownie, right? So
It doesn't taste the same.
I'm making the wrong choice.
Or maybe you could just have half a brownie to start. I always feel like there's,
I tried
like you were saying, Danielle, can you tone it down and then eventually weed it out?
You want to taper maybe? I mean, you don't have to do cold turkey. Some people do. I think it's more like, what can you tweak? What can you, like you said, if you want to go the healthier option, if you're already there, you can always do something like apples or kale. Don't get me wrong, it might not taste the same, but it's definitely more beneficial.
Catherine just put something in the chat. Vegetarian wrap is way better. Okay. I'll try that.
So there's options. You don't have to go straight for the brownie. You can play around with it now. And the group has definitely provided more feedback. This is a beautiful situation. This environment is awesome. Anybody else want to volunteer?
I want to hear somebody else's goal.
I'll do it. Go ahead, Catherine. Unmute.
I did walk, cycle, and I did say Monday, Wednesday, Friday for 20 minutes. And
Awesome.
then as Danielle was talking about that scale of 1 to 5, 20 minutes should not be that hard, but given our life in the Zoomosphere,
Yes.
committing to 20 minutes 3 days during the work week, that gets up to that 8-9 range, as ridiculous as that is. And so
No, that's
maybe
honest.
I modified it to 1 work day and 1 weekend day. And if I can get 20 minutes, and I mean, it's right there. I don't even have to go anywhere, but it's that time to do it.
We are jam-packed. We are meeting booked. We are Zoomed. We are Teamed up. It's difficult to do partly anything because everything's connected these days. So the way that you reframed your goal is how you know you're going to actually do it with the confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine, question for you. You said you're going to cycle and do something else, correct?
Well, either cycle or walk on the treadmill.
When I see 2 of the same kind of exercise goals, I want you to pick one. Focus on one and then slowly work into getting more. Partly because when we do a lot of different things, we lose track of what our goal was in the beginning.
All right. I can do that. Thank you.
No, thank you. Now I do have a question. Who can help Catherine stay accountable? Like I said, support is key here. We also have to think about motivators. I don't know about you, but when you have a goal in mind, it's really important to understand why you want to do it. Because if you don't have a why, it's going to be that much more difficult to figure out how you're going to accomplish it. I tell a lot of people when you're, striving to do better for something, think of something that's very intrinsic to keep you going, partly because when you're about to, fall off the wagon, when you put your why back into focus, that wagon goes 10 feet away.
Does fitting into clothes count as a good why?
These days, yes, absolutely.
Well, Danielle, we're out of time. These are only 15-minute wellness tips. So I want to thank you so much.
No.
I want to introduce everybody to Dr. Josh Funk, who's on here. He's going to be our wellness tip for next week. So we're looking forward to your talk, Josh.
Thanks, Margie. I'll be your accountability partner for next week, too. I made a note here.
I wish I kept my mouth shut. Okay, now let me turn it over to Sharon. She's our sponsor for this series and from Life Energy Foundation. So Sharon, welcome and thank you for sponsoring our series.
You're welcome. I mean, this is what the foundation is all about, is bringing wellness, making it fun, palatable, and doable, because SMART goals are, man, when we deal with chronic conditions, people with chronic conditions, it's all about the SMART goals and attainable. So one thing I just want to add about the SMART goals that we focus on in the chronic world is no judgments. This is all about getting information about yourself. How do you reframe if it's not working? No judgment. So thank you so much, Danielle. And I'm super looking forward to Josh's next week. And thank you all for coming. You guys are great. Keep up and be accountable.
Thanks, Sharon. Thanks, Margie.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great week.
With it, too.
Thank you, Danielle. Appreciate it.